If you're like me, you take joy in flipping through your old vinyl. I think the first thing that I got in the way of vinyl was Back in Black. No, it was for those about to rock AC/DC. My dad brought it home. I put it on. I couldn't believe how cool I was, and that sent me down a spiraling rabbit hole of radio and associations with jokesters like Phil Guerrero right here. Joining us in studio today to talk about vinyl and the love of records. Here we go.
Let's do it. This is always a good one, isn't it?
Okay, here we go.
That's just laughs.
You know something, Phil? I'm glad that you could join me today for this very serious conversation about vinyl. Actually, I think I would like to leave these on.
You know, those are the Yoko Ono sunglasses.
They are?
Yeah, those
the actual ones?
Broke up the Beatles.
They, I don't think it was the sunglasses, to be honest with you. No. It might have been the yodeling. All right, joining me today, Phil Guerrero. Thanks so much, buddy. I really appreciate this. And look, you might know him if you grew up on YTV. You might know him if you were in the fashion industry, and also if you are working at a vinyl store in Toronto, LA, or anywhere in between. You might have had him flipping through the vinyl in your store, because I think you're the guy I know that has the most vinyl.
No, I have one of those stupid IKEA 5x5 things, full and more. I literally ran out of room. You know what I'm collecting now? CDs, but we'll talk about that some other day.
I do want to talk about that, because one of the things I thought about was cassettes and why they didn't, maybe it's degradation, but we can talk about that. When did you start collecting records? When did you fall in love with the music? Is it the music that you love on the records?
Well,
or the collecting itself?
I always had records when I was a kid. I still, I sold them all when CDs, I don't even want to talk about it. Oh. And that collection was all early, it was stuff that when I was going through my little periods, I had a goth period, so I had all The Cure and Susie and the Banshees and Ministry, early Twitch Ministry, that album.
Right.
Yeah, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, all that crap. I had that, and then I started collecting. What did I become? Oh, then I was skateboarding. So it was the Circle Jerks and Gangrene and Suicidal Tendencies and the Misfits and all this sort of LA punk stuff.
Board rock, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, I became a heavy metal freak, a hair metal. So I had all that, and that was all collecting records. Sold them all. Trying to get them all back, but
that's what you do, right?
Extensive vinyl collection. But mid-2000s, I started collecting again.
How many do you think you have in total?
I don't know. A few thousand.
Wow, that's a pretty serious collection.
Yeah, in sections, but honestly stopped because I kind of ran out of room. But it was a lot of fun when I first started, where you could find I was going to Value Village and I'd get a stack like this, and it would be Billy Idol and David Bowie and the Scorpions and Iron Maiden and Bob Dylan, but not anymore. Forget it. Those thrift shops now, people are waiting for stuff to come out. Those days are over. That was a lot of fun, and it slowly it wasn't like that anymore.
I remember
and that was the fun part for me. Not going to the record store and buying that Metallica record, but trying to score it.
Actually trying to find it. And I remember going and vinyl in plastic, and imports was a big thing, and colored vinyl was another thing that was sort of attractive.
Oh, yeah. And EPs. And bootlegs. Remember bootlegs?
Oh,
they're up on the wall, and they were $100, and you couldn't afford them. But there were some bootleg live Led Zeppelin concert from Quebec or something. It'd be some crazy.
One of the ones that was going around that was a huge collector, I remember, was Kiss live at the Budokan, I think, or some band live at the Budokan, and it was sought after. There was maybe 70 or 80 of them in the world or something like that.
Yeah, wasn't it?
I was wow, and it was such a big deal. And then I don't know if you had this experience, but I had relatives and friends with relatives from the UK and Italy and things like that. And they would come back at the end of the summer, and you'd be like, "Whoa, where did you get this band?" I was introduced by Susie to Susie and the Banshees, for example, by a buddy of mine in high school, and I was like, And it took me down that road, that
Yeah.
sort of new wave alternative
Yeah.
road.
But then, and then you're listening to 102.1,
Yeah.
right? Or you're going to the record store to hear what they're spinning.
And
to
in fact,
figure out what the new thing is or whatever.
Did you ever record the radio just to figure out what songs you wanted to get?
1050 chump charts.
Yeah.
I used to sit there all morning and pause, record, you know.
1050 Chum was one of the kind of OG charting
And you
radio
get that
stations.
chart in the newspaper,
Yeah.
right? And I would follow, and I would record what I wanted to record as they counted down to number one.
You know what I think? That chart, now that I think about it, probably sold a lot of records at Sam the Record Man and Records on Wheels, and who else was out there at the time?
Oh, Records on Wheels was my big one. I
was
used
a
to
big
go
one.
there on Carlton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where there was a guy named Brian, and I think right now he's at Rotate This.
Oh, really?
And he was like this mean kind of skinhead guy, but I loved whatever he was playing, and I would buy whatever. If I walked in and he was spinning, I'd be like, "What's that?" And it was just like high fidelity, just like flip up the record. And I
take
remember,
that.
I'll tell you, the day I flipped from like skate rock, like punk, you know, Gangrene and Suicidal Tendencies, to metal was the day I came in and I heard like the fastest punk song I'd ever heard.
What was it?
It was Whiplash by Metallica.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I was
So-
like, who is this? And he showed me the record. I was like, Metallica?
It's
Like,
funny-
I'm a skate punk. And I flipped it. And they looked like four Scarbs, you know, like people from Scarborough in Toronto, which were rock guys.
Yeah.
You know, with the long hair and the mullets. And
Scarbs.
Yeah, like I was like, they look like Scarbs. You know?
It's so funny, though.
And
that
that's
was
when
a
I
link.
started growing my hair and playing the guitar.
Anybody who
Swear to
made
God.
that link between alternative and metal did it, I think, on the back of Metallica. Who
Yeah, I
just,
thought it was a punk band, and it was just the most amazing shit I'd ever heard, and that's what got me to Metallica. But then I went a different way. I picked up a guitar, and then I started moving towards hair metal. So I
Dawkin?
became one of those
Hi,
guys.
Dawkin. Nice
Yeah,
to meet you.
Yeah, I was trans before it was cool, dude.
You know what? It was even cool then. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah, like I had the long hair. I loved it.
It was
great.
it was an era when albums. Okay, so we grew up. It was really important when we were kids. You got the new record. I mean, I remember people showing up at school. Like, there's no place to play your record. Why are you bringing that to school? But it was a mark of how cool you were. You know, if you showed up with the new AC/DC. I felt like I said in the intro, I was the coolest guy on earth because I had For Those About to Rock with the cannon and it opened up, and you know, I could only listen to it.
Album art was a big thing when I was growing up.
Yeah.
My dad, and I realize now my father had these great albums. I didn't know what they were at the time. Like, Led Zeppelin 4? I was just a kid. What's this? It's like an old man. It looked boring. I
Yeah,
didn't know
kinda
what
boring,
it was.
right?
Right? Yeah, and I remember a Pink Floyd album where the guy's on fire, you know? But I really remember the ELO albums because they looked like comic books to me. And it was
Yeah.
a spaceship, and you'd open it up and you'd see all these, like stuff for kids back then was so few and far between. There wasn't Batman all over the place. It was just like,
Maybe you're
when,
like
when
me.
did you get to see Batman? If you went to a toy store or
Right.
it was just not on TV all the time or anything. So like an ELO album would be like spaceships.
Wow,
like,
they get
wow,
me.
like, yeah.
ELO, and the other one was Boston with
Boston
the spaceship
had
on
spaceships.
it. And who else had a spaceship? Starship, Jefferson Starship.
Jefferson Starship.
Or was
but
it
those
an airplane?
ELO albums were these elaborate.
yeah.
You flipped them open and there was like a world you looked at where it was like space and like.
Now you
anyways.
look back and you think, my dad might have been using acid. I'm not entirely
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But album art was a big deal.
Album art was a huge thing.
What's the best album art you think you've ever seen?
I'll tell you this. As I'm older, I've gotten into art, and certain artists like I forgot his name. He did like Judas Priest albums, like Screaming for Vengeance, and it's a certain kind of art. I love that stuff. Patrick Nagel, like that Rio album cover is Patrick Nagel.
Some
like
of it's
80s
pure
kind of
design
stuff.
now. Like I notice Tool is very intricate with their artwork, and
Yeah.
it's almost like it's almost like design artwork, repetitive design and fractals and stuff like that. And then, of course, this year I chased around for my stepson just a single album was just green.
A green album.
It was just green. And it was, oh man, I feel so bad now. I can't remember the artist. It was, yeah, it'll come to me. Nick, who had a fully green album this year?
I'll check it out.
This year? Oh my God,
Last
what would
year.
I know?
Let's say last year. But getting it was next to impossible because the vinyl version of this record was so popular. It took us over a year to find it, and
Yeah,
then it
that
took
stuff happens.
8 weeks for it to deliver.
There's stuff you can't get anymore. It goes out of print. Like
I was going to ask you that. Is there
the Crow
anybody out
soundtrack,
there?
I still don't have. That came and gone, and then it was Record Store Day, and that came and gone. Like there's stuff, but it always comes back. Like I paid, the most I paid for an album was it was like when I was out in Europe. I got engaged, so it was sort of my groom's gift. I paid 100 euros for an Aussie album.
That's pretty serious money.
No Rest for the Wicked. Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah.
And at the time, this was, I don't know, a few years ago, 5 years ago. At the time, the only vinyl pressing was this European pressing of it. And I got it there. And then they, of course, re-release it.
Yeah,
That's what always happens.
Does that, okay, so does that earlier version keep a better value than the new re-release?
Yeah, it's still as rare as, it still retains its value. I think it probably shoots it up when they start throwing other comparables. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've got the White
Records,
Album.
I'm kind of off with records. Like, I don't know. No, I still buy them, though.
I've got the
still buy
White
them.
Album. Is that worth anything?
Depends which version.
Yeah,
Have you ever joined
exactly.
Discogs? Like, it's crazy. There's like a million versions of the White Album. There's stuff on Apple. There's stuff on whatever.
I got it for
Label and
You know
know
for
what
my
I
birthday,
mean?
and I was like, I'm rich.
Yeah,
but
there's like-
apparently there's 18 releases of it, and
There's
in every
one
country.
Beatles album. I forgot what it was called, but it was the original cover was them like at a butcher shop, and there's like blood everywhere.
Oh, I don't
and-
even know that one.
And then the record company didn't want to release it, so they put like a sticker over it. That's how
Oh.
they dealt with it at first.
Right.
And they sold those. If you could find one of those where it's like it's behind the sticker kind of thing.
I've heard this, yeah.
There's stuff like that
was,
out there.
That was the White Album, I think, wasn't it?
No, it was something else.
Because they did sticker over something. I remember that with the White
Yeah,
Album. There was a relabel on it, or there's a.
Yeah.
But that okay. So
There's
that's
crazy
where
stuff going on with vinyl.
misprints, label misprints,
Sure.
limited editions and stuff. Is this a big collector's world still? Do you think?
It's a nerds collector thing.
Yeah.
For sure. You could go so deep. Like, I know I scored at Value Village Neil Young's first album. The version that he canceled, re-recorded, and then released because he didn't like the first recording of it. I have one of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible that
Yeah,
rock
so-
and roll
and-
had to do that. They had to actually go back. Now we can change a file.
Yeah,
You
no,
mentioned
right.
that you're going towards CDs. I gotta wonder. I really believe just because of how stackable and cool they were. Hey, by the way, Nick, did we find out what that record was?
The Green album.
I did not, unless you're talking about the Weezer album from the early 90s.
Nah, it'll come to me.
Or
It's a female
a
artist.
band named Orbital.
No,
No.
no.
I did want to bring up that there was that Beatles album, maybe you were mentioning, the one with the dolls and the blood.
Yeah, that's
Do you
what he
remember
was
that,
talking about. Yeah.
that album cover?
Is it that one? Yeah, with the like, it's like a butcher shop. There's like blood everywhere, and then they released it, and then they were like, something happened, and they called.
Oh my, we shouldn't do this. It has the butchers on that. Or what do
Yeah.
they call a butcher in England? There's a name for it. But anyway, the butcher, I believe. I thought for sure cassettes were going to be the cool thing forever. Why don't, from a collector's standpoint, do they have any value? Nobody seems to want
People
them.
collect them. There's stuff that's worth money. I don't like cassettes. Well, see, I got into vintage stereos. That's why when you're asking about CDs, you know what I mean? My stereo at home is a stupid, like vintage. I have 2 monoblocks, like that are 300 watts each. So I have 300 watts going into one speaker, 300 watts going into the other speaker, separate amps, you know.
I've listened to music on your stereo.
I have 2 reel-to-reels, like a big Fostex 10-inch reel-to-reel.
And what do you use that
Two
for?
reel-to-reels.
Is there
to
stuff
make
that you can...
mixtapes.
Just to make a mixtape, right?
Yeah, just to make it, if you play around with stuff, like, to get that sound, not every record sounds great, I kind of stick to, if the music was recorded in the digital age, then get the CD.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I have a Chemical Brothers vinyl record, and it doesn't sound right to me.
For a little while when you would get the CD, or actually more to the point with the MP3s, there seemed to be a loss of fullness in the sound in early days. I think that they've kind of caught up with that now.
It's all kind of here and there, The reason why I'm collecting CDs again is I discovered digital audio converters, like vintage ones.
Okay.
So certain high-end Denon CD players from early days.
Right. The kind we would have used in the
these-
radio stations.
Kind
heart-fed,
of like
yeah.
some elite home players, some things like it really depends on the DAC, the digital audio converter. Some are made by like a company called Wixson or Burr Brown, and those are these like sought after digital audio converters. Some of the first generation iPods, those big white ones, have Wixson DACs in them, and those are
Okay.
sought after. Because what they're doing is they're taking that digital music, like the ones and zeros, turning it into analog, but certain ones will give it that sweet sound.
That more full...
Yeah, like I don't know what you want to call it. Like,
That's a great thing. What would we call it? Let's give it a name.
It's like
I do like sweet.
it's turning ones and zeros into this, a sound wave.
It actually warms
Right?
it up somehow.
Yeah, and what you're hearing on vinyl is an actual needle doing that, right? Like you're listening to that, a needle actually follows that. And I know that with tape, analog tape, the reason why you get a sweet sound from tape is the amount of particles being moved, right? So that's why tape sounds better when it's faster, right?
Right.
And same with video, right? The particles are move. The faster they move, the better it sounds.
The
That's
better
why
it sounds.
45 singles, 12-inch singles, sound better than that track on an album.
I swear to God, I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's
This
amazing.
is
I did not know that. So
stupid vintage audio crap that
So
I
we
learned
really had-
over COVID.
to make your record sound the best, you had to put it out on a 45 as a single, ideally,
They
not just
sound
for
better.
pricing.
You'll hear it. You'll play those extended versions of like a 12-inch single on that's 45 RPM.
Is
Same with tape, right? Like on my reel-to-reels, I'll have 15 FPS or 7.
Right.
You can put more. Remember the cassettes? You
Yeah.
could put more, but it sounded better when you.
I forgot about
less,
that.
right?
That's right. You
Right.
could switch it. It was a switch on my
Yeah,
dubbing machine,
yeah.
and you could. Yeah, no problem.
So,
we can
yeah,
get 3
that's-
hours on here, but
Yeah. So DACs, what DACs do, they simulate that, and some are do the job better than others. There's some that are sought out.
is technology in turntables new now? Like, if you want to
The only
collect
thing
vinyl,
I think they really changed was to add like USBs and stuff
yeah.
like that.
But the quality, the way that it,
I mean, God, I have a couple of turntables, not like super high end. My turntable's from Scotland. It's a company
right.
called Ariston. Yeah, like the good ones come from like England, like in terms of like vintage ones.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah,
lot of. I
yeah.
noticed that
UK.
it's the hipster thing now to have a turntable, and there's a lot of garbage actually out on the market.
There's a lot of garbage, yeah, and they're just trying to sell these kind of turnkey kind of systems. But I'll tell you, if you get into vintage stuff, anything Japanese is great and old. And those are the ones that will have phono inputs, right? With the preamp already built into the amp. That's the other thing, right? It's a very low signal out of a turntable. So you need either a preamp in the turntable. Sometimes these new ones, they come with preamps in the turntable. Or, with the ground and the right, left. Or it's in the old amp or the new amp. Or you have a separate preamp for your turntable, which some of them they make as a separate thing, standalone, with a tube.
Right.
That feeds the low signal in from the turntable, converts it to analog, goes in your amp. It gets crazy.
As you describe it to me now, it seems like, wow, we really are lucky to have MP3s and Spotify and a few of these
sort
things.
of, you know.
But the
it
collector
takes
end
a lot
of it,
of the work out of, you know. For me, vinyl really was about the bus ride down to
right,
down
go
to the
that
record store,
experience.
like the quest.
Yeah.
To get that and discover new music because you went there and they're playing something and you're like, what's that?
I
Like,
sought that out
you
on
know
a
what I
couple
mean?
of levels.
That's gone.
Yeah, I remember that bus ride downtown and thinking,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to go to the Silver Snail and I'm going to go to Sam the Record Man. And
Oh God, like
they were
yeah.
that was a
In
glorious day
Toronto,
for me.
you would get off at Bloor and just walk down to Dundas,
Yeah.
and you would hit a million record stores. I remember there were like 2 up by Bloor, you know, where the boxing gym was.
Oh,
You go
yeah.
upstairs. There was a vinyl museum,
The vinyl
and then
museum
there
was
was
another
another
one?
vinyl museum
Yeah.
down by Dundas. There was Star Sound. There was Records on Wheels. There was Cheapies.
Oh, yeah,
there
Cheapies,
was
yeah.
Music World. There was Sam's, and then there was like you remember A&A. Like you remember all that? Like there were a million places.
You
to go.
literally, by the way, as best I can remember it, you just gave us the actual
the map.
the map of that street for,
Yeah,
for the records.
yeah.
What was the
Jim
first?
Dunn's Vinyl Museum, and then you go to.
What's the first
you know,
record that you
Star
remember
Sound.
buying with your own money?
With my own money, Devo, Freedom of Choice. For
Wow, for Whip
For
It.
Whip It.
Yeah, I brought those guys on stage when I was in radio. What a bunch of maniacs backstage. Do you think that they'd be
Just-
better behaved?
Really, those guys?
It was incredible.
They're very intelligent cats.
Yeah, that was for certain. But they were certainly into the rock star lifestyle, as I recall.
Really?
Yeah, it was very interesting.
I see interviews with them, and they're just really smart, intelligent,
Yeah.
artful dudes.
They
you
are,
know,
for
like
sure.
went to college for art. The interesting thing about those guys, they went through that whole Kent State University craziness.
Yeah.
They were at the school, you know, when that was going on.
The
so
era.
that's where all that crazy, like they were into Dadaism and, you know, like post-war sort of art movement shit.
Is there one piece of vinyl you listen to more than anything?
God, I'll tell you, since the wife's been working at home, that stereo hasn't even turned on. Like, and now I buy records. They're
COVID,
still,
what
they're
have
kind
you
of
done?
unopened. Like they sit there unopened.
Yeah.
I hardly have the time to just sit there and power up the amps. Like if people come over, I'm like, yeah. But it's weird. Like music, yeah, it's all kind of here just because I'm listening in the car or I'm listening.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing to like music. It takes some time.
It's almost like you
gotta-
should
it's-
put time aside, like once a month,
Well,
and
it's
just
your
sit
hobbies.
down
Like that was a huge hobby for me, dude. Like
Yeah.
the vinyl collecting, and then the stereos, and then my personalities, I moved from one thing to another.
But
Like I was re-gripping golf clubs a few weeks ago, and now my band's playing again, so I'm picked up the guitar again.
Did you have to re-grip the guitar?
No, but I did over COVID learn how to refret guitars.
Oh, no way.
You know, put the frets in,
What?
file them, and you level them, and all that. I learned how to work on guitars.
Oh, that's good. I have a couple
Bought
of...
tools. I bought a drill press,
Oh,
an arbor press.
I got a neck need straightened out and a guitar to clean up. I'll
neck-
send it your way.
Is it twisted or is it just like bowed?
I'm not sure if it's twisted or it's my
Is the
playing.
action high? What's the thing?
Listen to this guy now.
Like it's hard to play. Action's high. Like what is it?
It's hard to play because of my skill level.
Oh,
The action's a little high. It might be a little
I
bowed.
could do a setup, but
Just
you got to put
repeating
the
his
hours
words.
in and the pain.
Okay, listen, if you set it up, I'll put the hours in.
I have arthritis now. Oh my God, it's so hard to play.
When
But yeah, I
you-
jumped from one hobby to another.
Is
so.
your band playing gigs coming up?
I
promise you, I will keep you posted.
That band, we haven't played in a long time.
Well,
It's a long
let's
defunct
get you
band.
guys back on tour.
Yeah, one day.
Cut a piece of vinyl.
You want to see a 50-something-year-old jumping around on stage. Let's talk about these
Dudes.
bands that are on. All I see on my Facebook is just all these bands that. What happened to the singers? You
I
what
know.
mean?
Listen, like Phil Collins. Oh,
no.
it makes me so sad.
Well, I'm talking about like Vince Neil.
Oh,
and-
Vince Neil. Oh, yeah.
That's a tough
It's
one to
gonna
watch.
hit. We're all gonna hit the wall. Let's remember the talent. Keep our eyes on the new talent if we need to see something beautiful. You
If
know,
you can make the money, I guess.
it
But I
blows
just
my
like
mind.
Motley
The
Crue, I
Stones.
wish I'd seen in '84. I feel like some bands, like if you didn't see them when you should have seen them, it's just.
I saw Paul Weller last year.
Oh, but Paul Weller is timeless because of that kind of music.
And he just sounds better than he's ever
You should hear Style
sound.
Council records on a good stereo.
That's where I began.
That stuff sounds amazing.
My
I'll tell
favorite
you,
shop.
Simply Red sounds amazing, but you put on certain records sound like shit.
What's a record that doesn't sound good?
Fleetwood Mac, Rumors.
No way.
Yeah, doesn't sound that great.
I've heard this about some of the ABBA albums.
Some stuff, like some punk albums, are just the worst recordings.
Early Smiths albums are abominable. Early REM.
Yeah, some are bad. Yeah,
is
some
pretty
are bad
yeah.
recordings. But then you
Great
take something
songs.
you take something like Phil Collins, right? Any of those albums, they're unbelievable on the
produced.
stereo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, what did they call those drums? Those drums had a certain sound in the 80s. I think they called them, I forgot what they called it. But that shugo, like everybody used that.
The synth drums, the electric drums.
Yeah, gated.
Gated
Drums.
It would.
So
it
that
would
was
like
a sound in the
cut
80s
top
they
off 'em.
discovered, and everything had gated drums.
Yeah, so
in
that
the
you didn't hear
80s.
the initial
They
hit.
were just so big. They were just like so in your face,
Yeah.
the drums,
It's so true.
The gated drum sound. And all those like high produced albums are just incredible. Like, Yes. Have you heard, that album, Owner of a Lonely Heart,
Oh God, yeah.
that kind of stuff.
You said
And-
Frankie
and-
Goes to Hollywood. That was such a beautiful
that same
sounding
producer,
album.
right?
Yeah.
And Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah.
Was that Shep Pettibone?
Shep Pettibone, yeah, yeah.
Like his sound, like blam, blam, like that kind of,
In
Or
your
was it
face,
Shep
like
Pettibone? I can't remember, but that
You know-
Owner of a Lonely Heart producer had a certain amazing way of recording.
it's always interesting to me to hear what producers did with analog production, and now you see so many studios trying to incorporate analog production back into their studios
Yeah.
and into their process, just to get a sound that's not
Yeah.
not replicated digitally properly.
I don't know if you saw that documentary with Dave Grohl. He bought this board that came from a sound studio in Van Nuys, California. Legendary sound studio. So Fleetwood Mac recorded there. James Brown, not James Brown. Anyways, like all these famous albums were recorded there at, I forgot the name of the sound studio, but he bought that board. And it was a famous analog board. I forget the name of the doc, and I forget
In
the name of
Toronto is the board, I think, that the album we discussed earlier, the White Album, was recorded on and was
there's
brought
stuff
here
out
from
there.
Abbey Road. Yeah, it's
like
analog. and
old school engineering of tubes and,
it's fantastic. when that
and
skills-
sound waves and shit like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's what you're talking about. Trying to get that analog thing going on.
Phil Guerrero, I love to talk to you about anything, but talking about albums, because I've seen your collection, it actually has meaning, and that you're still so in love with music is very cool. So, man, thanks so much for talking to us. Next
Oh,
time,
yeah.
let's talk fashion. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.